All right, and we are live in the sports betting capital of the world, Las Vegas. This is Ramon Scott, and welcome to Night Moves here for Sunday, February 22nd. We're just 5 hours away from the biggest game in the history of hockey. Is it USA versus Canada, or is it USA versus the world? And where's Russia? How are you going to have a not uh, hockey classic without one of the greatest Olympic teams of all time? But it's U.S. and Canada here on Sunday, just 5 hours. Do we stay up? Do we make breakfast? Do we party? Do we drink? What do we do? Getting ready for the most significant Olympic hockey game, maybe of our well, generation or two. How's that? I'm a miracle on ice kind of guy, but that was a big surprise, right? And in today's big money world of hockey and all the big stars, this feels like the biggest game of all time. Although some people characterize it as a glorified exhibition, given some of the rules or the way the game is played in the Olympic format. But I don't think that matters to anybody right now. We're all waiting for tomorrow's big game between the United States and Canada over in Italy on a day when we'll wrap up the Olympic Games. And what a great Olympic Games it has been. Really culminated in some great action here over the last day or two, especially with the last of the medals being given out. And then we're going to go to closing ceremonies tomorrow. Hey, we're going to preview action here today in the NBA. We've got an 11-game card here to look at with some really good games. And there's a few college games, but I got to be honest, we're running out of important college games, especially after what we saw on Saturday with some big results. And just here on Sunday's card, I like to look at a lot of those mid-majors, but you know what? Those titles are almost all wrapped up. We can find a few in there, preview a couple of games, but I think it's all about the NBA tomorrow. We'll do a short show here with 12 games in 11 games in the NBA, and then also have probably here 5 games in college basketball. So what a night in college basketball there yesterday as well, with our 2 big games of the season and some other incredible results as well. Duke. In a weird time of a year to play a non-league game there at the Washington Classic there. 68-63, Duke got the win of the 11th straight game that Duke has played with fewer than 70 possessions. I mean, that's what makes them such an interesting team. Total Duke fashion here. They do look like just a little bit of the best team in the country right now. Yes, Michigan was in the game all the way. They're right there as well. You got to put in Arizona up there in the top 4 after they beat Houston on the road. Arizona's 4th straight game against a top 25 team. They've also knocked off teams ranked in the top 3 times this season, all away from home. They did it without one of their top players as well. So Delorso, another big game off the bench. They held Houston to 35 points. So right now, 2nd straight loss, by the way, for Houston. So to me, Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and then who? Is it Houston? Do you have someone else you have in mind there? Maybe from the Connecticuts of the world there. How about Illinois? Could it be Illinois? Could it be Florida, the defending champs? So I think we got 3, and we're looking for a 4th. And I think those are probably where to draw the line a little bit here with the clubs. Let me know in the chat what you think. Some other exciting wins there. UCLA came back from 20 points down to beat Illinois. So maybe you want to throw Illinois out of there, as Illinois led by 23 points midway through the first half. But UCLA only had 5 turnovers in the game. And, oh, man, it looked like Tyus Edney all over again at the end of the game there, with UCLA getting the last-second win on a coast-to-coast layup. How do you let that happen? Cincinnati knocked off Kansas in Lawrence for the Bearcats' 4th straight win. They finishing pretty strong here. Maybe they can get in and Kansas only 4 for 18 from 3-point range. They've got all kinds of quirky issues. You're not your typical Jayhawks here. That was one of the big upsets of the day, and another day full of upsets, including Wyoming over Grand Canyon late night there. A 9-point dog won the game. Florida State knocking off Clemson, and a key loss for the Tigers. Western Kentucky smashed Liberty. Maybe Liberty's starting to take a few off here. Valpo over Illinois. Chicago is a dog. And Buffalo over UMass in overtime. A&T over Elon tonight. Also, Dartmouth, an underdog winner over Columbia. How about Oregon beating USC last night? Eastern Washington knocking off likely champ Portland State and Southern Illinois over Northern Iowa. So upsets galore. Auburn over Kentucky, though, 75-74 as Auburn put in a rebound with 1.4 seconds left. Coach Pope felt like they were jobbed. He had some off-the-record comments that were caught on tape following the game there last night. Kind of took the high road there a little bit, but still a little bit perturbed the way it went down at the end of that game. New Mexico over Fresno State. And how about my man, shot fake Jake Reed, coming through big time for New Mexico. He did it again. Shot fake Jake with the big play there for New Mexico as they beat Fresno State. Bulldogs led 40-18 in that game with 5 minutes left before the end of the first half. By 22 points in that game, end up losing it. New Mexico's won 7 of their last 9. Virginia beat Miami. Miami led by 11 midway through the first half. Virginia got the win. Virginia's 12-2 in the ACC. Miami's 10-4 in the ACC. My San Diego State Aztecs went down, and they're done. They're not going to the NCAA tournament. They've made 5 in a row. They're on the bubble right now, but you can't lose that one at home against Colorado State. I think San Diego State, their women's team, won the Mountain West championship, but the men's team, they're going to fall short. They just couldn't keep the right personnel healthy in there this season. San Diego State, they could win the conference tournament. They're certainly good enough. We'll see what happens in the Mountain West. Arkansas over Missouri. Arkansas has won 7 of their last 9. Tennessee over Vanderbilt. They got it done. Commodores led by 4 at halftime, but Tennessee's won 4 in a row, and 8 of 9. They won the big rivalry game there yesterday. Vandy was 16-0. Now they're 21-6. Gonzaga did beat Pacific. Game was tied 29-all at halftime. Gonzaga nowhere close to covering. Southern Miss over Old Dominion in a key game, 86-81. And then we also saw late night controversy here between New Mexico State last night in their game here late. Did see some awkward exchanges between the coaching staffs that needed to be separated by the players of all things. UTEP at New Mexico State. Now those coaches are pretty good friends, but just like friends, they can argue sometimes, and they were not cordial at the end of the game. New Mexico State won the game 67-63 as a 7-point favorite. UTEP covered, so I don't know what you're all upset about. Not that they were worried about that, but, your team played well. All right, thanks for joining me here on Night Moves here as we get ready for the action here on Sunday. Like I said, okay, it is about the NBA, but, we're going to be up for that game. We're going to be watching that game, and I don't know if anybody's going to be awake after the game is over tomorrow to watch any NBA, but we're going to preview all the games here. And, of course, I'm going to make my prediction here for the Olympic gold medal game. Look, I know that these two teams probably going to play it close to the best. I'm going to say they get out of form a little bit. Maybe I'm looking for a little bit of attention. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a shootout, okay? I think it might be a very unpopular opinion here, but maybe the pressure of a game like this, if it's not 1-0, it's going to be 6-5. That's the way I feel about it. I don't know about 2-1, 3-2. I think it's either going to be one way or the other, and I think the pressure forces the teams to kind of want to make things happen here rather than trying to trust fate. Why do you want to go into a situation where some 3-on 3, something, where you don't have teams at full strength. Let's see it go crazy tomorrow. I'm going over in the big game. Yeah, I'm going to take the United States for sure. In fact, I think actually, but both teams have been great, but I think the United States has been more complete offensively and defensively. I think Canada has had the firepower throughout the tournament here, but U.S. has had tremendous results. And for Canada to be favored in the game, I think it's, to me, more, if you're just doing like, if you want to root, if you're for Canada, I'm with, hey, let's go, go Canada. And, you think they can win. U.S., same thing. But I think if you looked at it and said, man, I can get the U.S. team as a, minus $1.05 or even money here, I think that's more what I'm interested in in a game like this with the margins maybe so razor thin. So I'll take the U.S., but I think it's going to be a crazy game here. And look, the totals mostly 5.5 over 35 or 5.5 under 65. I'd be more interested in taking something crazy like over 9 or something like that. Try to get a big payday here in the game. I just think it'll be a crazy game. I hope it is. I hope it's wild and we'll never forget it. We say hello to the chat pros coming in here right now for the show. Hope we get a few people together and go with our coverage of the NBA here. Timmy Two Shoes is here as well. And yeah, we're going to be ready to go. We're going to be, I don't know what to do here. 5 hours, we can squeeze in a nap or so coming in, right? Jermaine, hello. Andre is here today. There's Will in the chat. He's on the Americans here. Ron Young, going to ride with the over there a little bit. AR Tip. Oh, great to see some AR Tip in here joining the chat pros tonight. 3-1 USA. He likes it there. And let's see, Will says that USA, and you might as well put him in there with the Dodgers, right? I mean, come on. It might just look like a simple exhibition baseball game that you would never consider putting your big Olympic bet. But the way the Dodgers, the Yankees already here, I think they just clinched their spot in the postseason yesterday. The Yankees beat the Tigers 20-3. The Dodgers scored 9 runs in the first 2 innings. They beat the Angels 15-2. A day after, Angels manager Artie Moreno said that for the fans, winning ranks about 5th on the most important things about going to an Angel game, behind beer prices, cheap food, the atmosphere. He said winning was the 5th priority. Well, I think Artie might not be quite in touch with the fan base. A $5 beer is great. I don't even know if they're $5 anymore at the Angel games. They probably are. It is one of their big selling points. But for Artie to say that, it just shows how out of touch and how far away the Angels are from ever getting close to anything here until Artie is gone. Oh, no. But, yeah, there was some other great results there yesterday. Major League Baseball, first full day of exhibition games out there, spring training games. Here, several teams scored double-digit runs. So while we're talking about it, Al did such a good job yesterday talking exhibition baseball, so we'll follow up there with that one. Also, I want to mention, though, not to be, we're talking international sports and how great the Olympics has been, and yeah, we've got, Major League Baseball coming up. In fact, we're going to have, the games between the Yankees and the Giants coming up, which, will be the first game in March here in a special game, but the World Baseball Classic also begins here in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, I think, maybe a week and a half. So there'll be a little bit more international flair to come in sports with the World Baseball Classic here in just a few. And, we know you got the United States and Japan, but also don't forget the Dominican Republic is going to be fielding a great team as well. And they might they're going to lack the pitching probably, but that should be fun. All right. And what else do we have? A little NBA action here. Going to cover just a little bit of NBA from Saturday on our 6-game card because I did have a winner with Tony's picks. And we had the Phoenix Suns as our winner. Oh man, big Saturday, so definitely was firing away here, but just couldn't quite find the streak to keep it going here on Saturday. But let's go over to Tony'sPicks.com and take a look at the handicapper leaderboards here for Saturday and take a look and see which cappers were able to bring it home. Dave Racy there, he shows you how to get it done on a college basketball Saturday, going 12, 6, and 1. Nick Lagarentos up there as well, 5 and 1. Hollywood Sam, let me refresh this, make sure I got the right. Do we have it on the screen here? Oh, sorry about that. Here we go. There we go. Let's take a look at the handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot here. There it is. David Racy at 12, 6, and 1 there. Nick Lagarentos, 5 and 1. Hollywood Sam, 3 and 1. Shane Mickle, 3 and 1. There's DeAndre. Just one play, but if you can win it every time, DeAndre, do it. Brings it home there. Ron Hahn, 2 and 1. Mills Young, 5 and 4. Probably had some winners in the UFC there. And Alessandro Rodriguez, I know, also probably had some UFC winners there last night. If you missed it, Sean Strickland knocked out Anthony Hernandez in a flurry of punches in the third round. The former champ comes through with a win finally here. He'd been fighting some tough guys. Strickland stops Fluffy's 8-fight winning streak there in Houston on Saturday night. So Strickland, he's trying to look to be one of the guys in the White House card. I mean, you'd think, maybe he's been on Team Trump. Maybe sometimes he's not always with them, but you got to think he's pushing for that. Strickland got the win in that middleweight main event there on Saturday night. And also big fight, Ryan Garcia with the win over Barrios. He knocked him down 23 seconds into the fight. I'm critical of Garcia and his loose lifestyle, but he certainly looked good there against Barrios, really taking it to him there in that one. And also Russell did beat Hiraoka in their big championship bout as well. One of the championship bouts got canceled there yesterday in boxing, but Strickland was the feature and Garcia got the win at minus 240 in the boxing feature there on Saturday night. Okay, who else is with us here? Mr. Wesker is like in UCLA there. I think they did a pretty good job in that game coming back. Like I said, hey, Coach dialed back his comments. One thing about what he said, and like what I said too about the situation there with Coach Mickey, is that that was a pretty good guy there. He was accusing of taking a cheap shot in that game at Michigan State. So he dialed back his comments, but good win for the Bruins there. All right, let me take here real quick. I was going to see who the guys had, if I can sneak a peek with Mills and Alessandro here to see the wins there. Oh man, Jacoby Smith there over Harrell. Oh, he ended him early in that one, didn't he? He knocked him out there. Smith with the win over Harrell. Also, he had Diwali and Jordan Levitt to go over. Good job there by Mills. You see how strong he is in MMA. And then let me see what Alessandro had to have a UFC winner here. Let's see who had. He had Strickland. He had Sergey Spivak against Delija. I had Delija, so good job there by Vegas Al taking Sergey Spivak over Delija. He knocked him out there for sure there in that one. And he also had Soriano over Brahimaj. I had Brahimaj there in that fight, so Al got the better of me in those two. I did have three winners, 3 and 2 in the UFC with my picks there on Saturday over at Tony's Picks. Let me go to the all cappers tab and take a look. Oh, let me just review the cappers here real quick if I can. Alessandro, he leads over the last 7 days, 4 1/3 units. Al Ninos up almost 4 units. David Racy up 3 units. Damian Sosh over 3 units. Ron Hahn, 2.5 units. Nick Lagaretos, 2 units. You see the guys in the green here last 30 days. Steve Duncan over 25 units. Nick Lagaretos over 20 units. Alessandro's got over 6 units there. Joey Tron over 5 units there. I'm up there still in the last 30 days, but going to have to bounce it back here on Sunday. Winners for me at UFC Houston included Idris over Odie Osborne. I had Idris in that one. I also brought it home with Carlos Leal over Njoku Wani there yesterday. And I had, I lost with Pereira. I laid 3.5 games. I went 2-3. Oh no. All right. Well, let's click on the All Cappers tab, find the handicapper of your choice, click on their handicapper profile page, and that's how you get signed up. You click on the tab there, and you can see the records here for me over the last few. Had my NBA winner in there. I'm pretty hot in the tennis scene and a little NBA streak here. So check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. Check out all the handicappers over at Tony's Picks. Save 15% off those premium pick packages. I'm looking for a bounce back here all of a sudden on Sunday. All right, we're going to get to it with our schedule of games here. Cast aside Saturday and get ready to go. Get rid of the promo there. There we go. Like I said, one more day of coverage here at the Olympic Games. Not only, of course, the Olympics gold medal match in hockey there on Sunday. That'll be pretty big, but also a few more events here to wrap it up. Cross-country skiing, women's 50K mass start. That starts in 35 minutes. Jesse Diggins certainly capable there in the cross-country skiing event here for the last day of the Olympics. But I think it's Frida Karlsson. I think it's the two Swedes, Karlsson and Anderson there. I didn't check the odds actually on the last day here of the Olympics. But also women's curling gold medal match coming up here in an hour and a half with Switzerland and Sweden. I've got Switzerland there, minus $1.30, $1.35. I got a pick for you right here, Switzerland to win the gold medal in women's curling. And then freestyle skiing later on, women's ski halfpipe with Eileen Gu, the controversial skier, the American, competing for another country instead and winning a couple silver medals. A 4-man bobsled today as well leads into the gold medal hockey game. And then the closing ceremonies at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific for the closing ceremonies here. All right. It was a good time there in Italy. Okay, let's get ready to go with our games here right now in the NBA here on Sunday. I want to hear from you. Get your picks ready in the chat with the chat pros. We take a look at this card here for Sunday. Like I said, I'm mostly going to focus on the NBA. There's really very little to contest in college basketball here in several of the conferences right now. The big conferences still have some things to determine, especially the ones where the conference tournament is not the only invitee to the NCAA tournament. Let's get it started here right now on Sunday with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Cavs are favored on the road here, 3.5 to 26.5 here in this one with the Cavs on the road. With Thunder, probably a little bit better of a cover here. Well, they're a dog all of a sudden, the way things are going for the Thunder. Now times have changed. But Cavs are playing pretty well right now. We know the Thunder is a little bit shorthanded here with no SGA currently. So, yeah, that's going to bring them down here a little bit and actually make Cleveland a favorite on the road here against Oklahoma City. I bet that hasn't happened this season, right? For the Thunder, not only SGA out here, but A.J. Mitchell is out. Guard Jalen Williams is out as well. Evan Mobley is probable here in this one. Let's see how you're playing it today in the NBA with Cleveland and Oklahoma City. Cleveland's 36-21, Oklahoma City 43-14. There's no doubt you could look at this as a potential finals matchup. Cleveland's playing well enough, it feels like right now, to put them up there with the top teams in the East, certainly. And the fact that they've gotten healthy here a little bit as well. Cleveland comes in here on a pretty serious winning streak right now. Cavs here, hot streak at this point. They just came in off of a win, 2 wins actually, to open the latter part of the season here with beating Brooklyn and Charlotte. They didn't get the money in that game against Charlotte a couple nights ago, but they did win by 5. Cleveland's won 7 straight and covered 8 of their last 11 games overall coming in. Cleveland just 1-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 6 meetings against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City's won 13 of their last 20 overall. Oklahoma City's gone over in 10 of its last 15 games, and 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two teams have gone over. The teams did meet in their other game this season at Cleveland, and Oklahoma City won 136-104 as a 6.5-point favorite. This is the second time that Oklahoma City's been an underdog this season. They did not cover in their first try as a dog. Oklahoma City is 1-0 to the over as an underdog this season. Cleveland 15-12 to the over. We talked about Cleveland time and time again, how they're 36-21 straight up and just 24-33 against the spread. Oklahoma City, they maybe an unfamiliar role, and maybe they're just going to be up against it here a little bit. Maybe you like the points. Let's see what the chat pros have to say here in this one. Okay, let's see here. Will likes the Celtics today. Here's Andre with OKC. Jermaine likes the under here in this one. All right, man. I kind of think Cleveland goes in there and wins this one on the road. I've got the Cavaliers to go in and knock off the Thunder in this one. Give me the Cavs here on Night Moves. All right, Nets and Hawks. Next one here. I think I'm dragging a little bit in the video here, but I hope we'll make it through. We've got Brooklyn here on the road taking on Atlanta. Atlanta's an 8.5-point favorite. Total 229.5 here in this one. Brooklyn comes out of the All-Star break, having lost here to Cleveland and Oklahoma City. They got blown out, actually, in those. They've really been crushed in the last 3 games overall. We know Brooklyn, and also ran at this point for Atlanta. These games, they're going to be one of the teams to watch here down the stretch because of their current situation. They are trailing right now by 3.5 games behind the Magic. I don't want to say there's separation at this point in the Eastern Conference, but one of the biggest gaps is between the 8 and the 9 teams as we try to sort out the postseason. So they've got work to do, and they haven't been playing that well. Atlanta comes in here off of a loss to Miami, a 128-97. Now, they beat Philadelphia on the road before that, a bit of an upset. So things were looking pretty good out of the break, but Atlanta has been a crummy cover this season, just 9-17 against the spread, 8-16 against the spread as a favorite. The Nets haven't been anything special either, just 12-16 on the road, 23-28 as an underdog coming in, but they covered 9 of the last 10 games against the Atlanta Hawks, and that might be good enough for me in a matchup like this. Brooklyn's gone just 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 games. They've lost 13 of 16, but Atlanta's lost 4 of its last 5 and dropped 5 of their last 6 against the spread coming in. They've also had losses here to Minnesota and Charlotte twice before the break. Brooklyn actually won a couple of games, remember, against sorry teams like Washington and Chicago, but they did pick up a couple of wins there. So I'm going to take the Brooklyn Nets here. I think for me, we got 2 teams not too great. Yeah, Atlanta should be better. And like I said, they're battling for the playoffs here, so they should have motivation. but I'm going to take the Brooklyn Nets here. Brooklyn hasn't been anything special over the last 2 seasons, yet they've been able to cover practically each and every time against this club, even though Atlanta has won the first meeting here this season, 117 to 112 there. So we're going to see these guys play a few more times here in the last couple of weeks of the season. I'm going to take the Brooklyn Nets on Night Moves. All right, probably not much from the group on this one, but we do have Andre says Nets plus the points. Hawks shouldn't be laying that many. Jermaine's got the under. Okay, the Nuggets are going to take on the Warriors here. A little bit of a thump right now with the Warriors. Talking about teams trying to make the playoffs here. The Warriors are inside the playoff bubble, but the Clippers are the team trying to chase them down. So it feels like the Warriors going to have a lot of pressure here from the Clippers. Yeah, Portland's in there with the Clippers as well, but Clippers they've got the green stock arrow, and the Warriors kind of have the red stock arrow, it feels like a little bit here. The Suns are 3.5 clear of the Warriors. So it looks like the Clippers and the Warriors will be battling for this last playoff spot. Yeah, we got 24 games left here for most of the teams right now. So there'll be some shakeout, I'm sure, but that's where to focus your attention, it feels like right now. The Warriors come in 29 and 27, Denver 36 and 21, but Denver looks like they're a team ready to kind of take off. I don't want to say take off some games. They certainly would like to finish, in the top 4. They're probably not going to catch the Thunder or the Spurs, but they're in there with the Rockets and the Lakers and the Timberwolves, and only 2 of those teams are going to finish in the top 4 out of that group. That's teams 3 through 6 right there. Right now. So still a little bit of motivation here maybe for the Nuggets, but look, they kind of went in this same pattern before where they're not that concerned. As long as they don't finish in 5th place, I guess, might be the best thing. Try to have at least one home series in the postseason. The Nuggets are 32 and 25 against the spread and 20 and 11 against the spread on the road. The Warriors are 7 and 10 against the spread as an underdog here. It does feel like the Nuggets can be the better team in this one. They're coming in off of a win and cover at Portland after losing to the Clippers to open the late stretch of the season. Meanwhile, for Golden State, they did get crushed by Boston there the other night, 121 to 110 at home there. But hey, they're home again. They're getting the points here. But man, let's see what you've got in this one. Denver taking on Golden State here. Denver's won 10 of the last 12 meetings against Golden State, but just 3 and 6 against the spread in 9 games against the Warriors. So usually Denver wins, but does not cover. For Golden State here, they're 1 and 6 against the spread in their last 7, winning just 2 of those 7 games. 7 of the last 10 meetings between the 2 teams have gone under, but these 2 teams are strong over teams this season. Denver's 21 and 10 to the over on the road, 25 and 11 to the over as a favorite. Golden State is 18 and 11 to the over at home. However, they are 7 and 10 to the under as an underdog here. I'm going to go with Denver to win this one and cover right now. It's a lot of points here, probably at this point, but with the injuries here for the Warriors currently, Curry is out, of course, and KP, though, he is probable in this game. Jamal Murray, questionable for Denver. Pickett is out for Denver. Watson is out for Denver as well. I'm going to take the Nuggets here and lay the points against the Warriors here on Night Moves. Let's see what the chat pros had to say in this one. Andre's on the Nuggets, but Mr. Weskers here is on the Warriors. Jermaine was on the under, I believe. Well, that might have been the last game, actually. Here's Andre on the over. Jermaine's got points prop here. And Andre says if Murray's in there, he wants his prop. Hardaway as well. Andre says KP is still on a minutes restriction. Jermaine, that's what he wanted. Jokic there under. And Andre, though, a triple-double here for Jokic. Okay. Andre says, who's going to guard the Jokic? Who's going to even guard him here right now with this Currish lineup? Is that a word? We know Kerr's been doing some unique things out there this season that even has the Warriors fans a little bit perplexed. All right, let's see. Who would we? I think we can. I think I might have had the lineup, my projected lineups out there. All right, we'll just move on. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Here we go. Next up. Here, NBA action for Sunday. I don't want to say that the Milwaukee Bucks are a better team without Giannis Antetokounmpo, but at least when he's been out, at least this team can kind of focus in on what they have. And what they have is a winning streak right now, and they continue to play pretty well without Giannis in the lineup. It's kind of one of those things where maybe the it has felt a little prima donna-ish with Giannis and the trade. Like he wants to get traded, but he really, this was before the trade deadline, of course, but wants to get traded, but he feels really committed to this company, to this city, I think. But anyways, the Bucks have been pretty terrific here. 3-game winning streak right now. They've won 6 of their last 7, covering those 6 games. Toronto is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. They've won 8 of their last 12, but just 2-4 against the spread against Milwaukee in the last 6 meetings, including earlier this season. The teams have already met a couple of times. Toronto won them both and covered, once at home, once on the road, but I don't know. It feels like Milwaukee's playing a little bit better right now. Toronto's been a good cover here. They're coming off a blowout win over Chicago last time out for their first game after the All-Star break. They are 16-11 on the road against the spread, are the Toronto Raptors, although they're 14-19 ATS as a favorite. Milwaukee's 18-15 against the spread as an underdog, although 11-15 against the spread at home. Sometimes they've been favored by too many points, even as a favorite. But that was more during the first half of the season. For Toronto here, they're just 11-22 to the under as a favorite, and Milwaukee's 14-19 to the under for the last 5 as a dog. For the last 5 meetings between the two teams have gone under, and Toronto's gone under in 7 of their last 10 games. Give me the under in this one with Toronto and Milwaukee on Sunday here on Night Moves. I think I don't know. I'd probably feel like the Bucks. They beat Orlando. They beat Oklahoma City. They beat New Orleans. Milwaukee's playing pretty well right now, despite not having their star player here at this point. Take your time, Giannis. We'll go with it. Scotty Barnes is out for Toronto. I think that's a really big issue here as well. In fact, it does actually surprise me that the line is what it is without him currently listed in the lineup. It has definitely moved in Milwaukee's favor with that news here. So, all right. Anything from the chat pros, let me know. Want to say hello to Joshua David Brown joining us here tonight from a land down under. And let's see here. Mr. Weskers is on the Raptors. Andre says, Bucks and the points. They're playing good, and without Barnes, that could be a big deal. Andre says, Raptors win, Bucks cover. He's talking about the Barnes injury there. All right, the Mavericks and the Pacers, 2 organizations, kind of some familiarity within the years of the coaching and all that. Mavericks here, favored on the road by 1.5, maybe 2 right now, actually. Total here in the 232 range at this point. Now, For Dallas here, they're on a long losing streak. Uh, you know, it's been one thing when with Cooper Flag, he's been in there and doing a great job. But even when he was in there towards before he got the injury, um, they still weren't covering there. They really were somewhat one dimensional. And now here with him out, it's just been a disaster right now. Can't even come close to winning. So Flag is out here with a foot injury. You got to wonder how much. Hey, Con Kneppel is having all those 3-point records here. Could he come back and win the Rookie of the Year award? I think statistically, Kneppel has been pretty terrific. And if Flag has any trouble working his way back into the lineup here, it could open the door for Kneppel. Toronto's for Dallas here. Let me get through the injury report here. Let's see here. Max Christie is questionable. Caleb Martin is probable here. Pascal Siakam questionable. Micah Potter questionable. TJ McConnell questionable. Cam Jones questionable. Nembhard questionable. Nesmith out. Zubats out. Furpey out. These are all pretty fresh. I mean, Zubats and Furpey we know have been out for a while, but I'm just kind of emphasizing here. I mean, these aren't old injuries, so the Pacers have been scrambling here big time right now with who's going to be in and who's going to be out. It feels like in this game, this is a real clunker of a game here for sure. But someone's going to have to win, and let's try to figure out who it might be. Dallas is on a long losing streak, so I've lost track of how many games they've lost in a row. They're 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 games. Dallas is just 1-4 straight up and against the spread in their last 5 games against Indiana. Indiana's gone just 2-6 in their last 8 and 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 overall. Indiana's gone over in 8 of their last 12 and over in 4 of their last 5 games. You might think that a lot of scoring is missing here, and maybe that would open the door for an under. After all, these two teams are solid unders this season, especially Dallas. They're 5-11 to the under as a favorite. 5-11 to the under as a favorite, 10-15 to the under on the road. Indiana's just a slight under, really, but like I said, they're going over here of late. So I kind of want to go over in this one at 232 here. I'm going over. I'm going to bucking the trends here, I think, to take an over in this game with Dallas and Indiana. One thing I think when you have NBA starters out is really you do lack defense. I know we make fun of it a lot of times with defense sometimes in the NBA, but I'm going to go over in this one. All right, here we go. Andre does say go Mavs and over. He's on the Mavs and over. He says the Pacers are tanking here. Mr. Wesker's on the Mavs here. Jermaine's got some props going on. All right, that'll do it for that one. Thank goodness. Some of these games are starting to look pretty bad. All right, next up. All right, the Hornets are on the road. And again, you got to look at the Hornets here. I mean, they are in the mix here at this point. They've got a lot of work to do, and it doesn't feel like they have quite enough to get to the postseason. They are 4 games back right now of the Magic. Did see LaMelo Ball is going to need some car repairs, and people calling for him to go to jail. I mean, the guy has car insurance. I mean, you just call your agent. Hey, it might have been your fault, but that's why you have the insurance. I'm sure he's got great car insurance. I'm sure the other guy's car is going to be just fine. And LaMelo was obviously drinking his latte or something while driving around. Maybe he was dancing to his brother's music with neon or something. All right. For Washington here, they've won a couple of games in a row right now. Wins over Indiana 2 times right out of the gate here. So key wins for Washington over fellow cellar dweller. But for Charlotte here, they have lost 2 in a row out of the gate here to tough teams, Houston and Cleveland. they did cover in those games. So I think Charlotte knows what they're up against here and knows that they have to get some of these wins. And they're obviously favored here. Look at this, 12 points. I mean, they're really not that good, right? It just hard, but you gotta maybe understand the motivation here. Maybe they still can. They just have to win. They don't have to win by 12. And look, as bad as Washington is right now, Charlotte here with injuries. McNeely, he is out here right now. Bridges, Diabate still, I think, is still suspended. Here, Grant Williams is probable for Washington. Buksevich is questionable. Champagne questionable. Keyshawn George questionable. D'Lo is out. Sarr is still out as well. So they are missing pieces here. But man, and look, Charlotte's a good cover. I mean, they're 18-11 against the spread on the road. Actually 9-6 against the spread. As a favorite, Washington 22-29 as an underdog. But man, are you really going to trust the Hornets to get a win by a dozen against anybody? Man, okay. For Charlotte here, they are 13-16 to the under. They've gone under in 7 of their last 10, 22-35 to the under overall. I'm scared of the point spread. I think here, probably just going to go to the total. Charlotte just 2-7 against the spread against the Wizards in their last 9 meetings against them. Charlotte has actually won 6 of the last 8 meetings. Washington's actually won 6 of the last 8 meetings over the Charlotte Hornets when the two teams have met. Washington's gone under in 11 of their last 16 coming in. Charlotte's gone under in 6 of their last 8. I'm going to go under here in this one with Charlotte and Washington. But look, Charlotte just needs to win, but they're not even a playoff-bound team. How are they going to beat somebody by 12? And like I said, Washington's out of the gate here, beating Indiana 2 times. I mean, sure, is Charlotte better than Indiana? I think that's a safe bet. But okay, here we go with Mr. Weskers. He likes the Wizards. Okay, now we're talking. It might not be the typical Celtics and Lakers heated rivalry game right now, but still, both teams coming in with a couple of wins here. Out of the Boston won their first game out of the break. They've won 2 in a row, but they're pretty hot. Lakers here also won their first game out, but they didn't cover against the Clippers. Boston here, 18-10 against the spread on the road. Lakers, meanwhile, just 8-14 against the spread as an underdog. Not their best role, that's for sure. The two teams did meet back in December. Boston won it at home, 128-105. They really crushed the Lakers there in that one. For Boston here, they won 7 of their last 8, covered in 6 of their last 8 overall. Boston 5-2 straight up in their last 7 against the Lake Show. Lakers have won 5 of 7, and they've won 8 of their last 12 at home. Coming in, Lakers are 18-8 to the over at home, 14-8 to the over as an underdog, but Boston's the opposite. They're 11-17 to the under on the road, 15-25 to the under as a favorite. They've gone under in 9 of their last 11. But 11 of the last 16 meetings between the two teams have gone over. 6 of the last 8 between the two teams here in Los Angeles have gone over as well. So see what you got here in this one between the Lakers and Boston here on Sunday night. This is a Peacock game here at 6:40 Eastern, 3:40 Pacific. Nexus is here today, likes the Celtics on the road to win this one. And Jermaine's on the over here. I'm going to take the Boston Celtics here on the road to win this one and get the number. I'll take Boston to beat the Lakers here tonight. I think let me cover the injury report a little bit. Not much. There is no real notable injuries here, short-term injuries right now in that game. So I think everybody's good to go here. All right, and let's see here. Jermaine on the over. Here's a prop with White. Andre likes the Lakers on the money line in this one. And Mr. Wesker is on the Celtics here. Okay, let's go to a good one here between the Sixers taking on the Timberwolves here. Timberwolves favored by 9. Total here 237, 238, it looks like right there. And look, we've talked about this year, right? Minnesota, such a great, great strong team, certainly 35-22 straight up, but still just 13-7 against the spread at home, 19-7 against the spread as a favorite. This is still the role where Philadelphia 17-8 against the spread on the road. This is where they've kind of thrived. Yeah, just 12-12 against the spread as an underdog here, but Sixers are still alive. I'm still battling. I mean, they're in the playoff picture for sure. There looks like they're going to make it. They're several games clear here of ninth place, so looking pretty good. No collapse, and they'll be fine. But they just continue to cover in this role. However, they've lost 4 straight, including 2 out the gate here in the second half. Losses to Atlanta and New Orleans. They've lost 4 straight here right now. Minnesota, meanwhile, on a 3-game winning streak. Wins over Atlanta, Portland, and their first game past the All-Star break was against Dallas, although they did not cover the spread in that one. Minnesota's just 10-20 to the under at home this season. And to me, that kind of rides with, I think, look, this total's pretty high there at 238. I don't think the matchup calls for that, although 6 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams have gone over, and Minnesota's gone over in 6 of their last 9, even though at home it's a much different story. Minnesota's won 8 of their last 11, just 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 games overall. Philadelphia has actually won 11 of the last 16 meetings between the two clubs and covered the spread in 15 of their last 20 meetings. That is a 10-year sample size, however. Philadelphia just 1-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 6 games. So, yes, it's their role. It is not Minnesota's role, but the Sixers are having some struggles here to start the second half. Let's see what you have in this interesting matchup. Joel Embiid is questionable for the game here, and Gobert is out with a suspension here for Minnesota. I'll take the under, 237 here in this one. Give me the under with the Sixers and the Timberwolves. Let's go to the chat stars here, see what they want to say here. Hi, yeah, Nexus. Yeah, I covered it already. I'm on the over. Over is my big play. I'm a homered up with the U.S. Plus, I think it's short money. I like him as a dog. Hey, you want to say hello to George Perez? Hello to George in the chat. He likes the Mavericks there today. Mr. Weskers is on Minnesota in this game against Philadelphia. Andre's on the T-Wolves as well. Mr. Weskers is not a fan of the Sixers. They have a pretty weak front office, not making the right moves. All right, I'll take the under in this one. Okay, Trailblazers and Suns here. Trailblazers might be fading into the sunset here a little bit. Like I said, looking at the standings in the Western Conference, I think out of the teams that are still alive, I think you'd cut it off at the Trailblazers. I think Memphis, they're 5 games back of Portland in 11th place. Portland's in 10th. Portland is 2.5 back of the Warriors right now. So I'd say the Blazers are still alive here. Meanwhile, the Suns, looks like they're going to be okay. They're 3.5 games clear of the Warriors in 7th place. If they collapse, they would be, fighting for their playoff lives. And some people have kind of spelled the demise of the Suns here, maybe in the last 24 games of the season here, but hey, they won last time out against Orlando. That was a great game yesterday. That was one of the best games of the season, I think, actually. here, even though there was a lot going on at the time. We watched that game and went double overtime. My pick yesterday was on the under, I think, in the game. Our premium pick was on Phoenix, but on night moves here we had the under. It almost went under despite 2 overtimes in that game. We missed it just by a couple of points. But for the Suns here, like I said, coming in off of a win, they did not cover. They haven't been covering really, but they're still 18-11 against the spread at home, 17-12 against the spread as an underdog. Portland just 3-7 ATS in their last 10 games overall. These two teams met just 3 weeks ago, and it was 130-125. Phoenix won it at Portland. In fact, Portland also lost at home 127-110 to Phoenix earlier this season. So Phoenix got the win and the money in both those games. Phoenix comes in here having lost 4 of their last 6, going just 1-5 against the spread. Meanwhile, Portland 4-8 straight up in their last 12. They're 5-2 against the spread. Their last 7 against Phoenix. 4 of the last 5 meetings between the two teams have gone over. Both games this year went over. In fact, I think it's actually 4 straight overs between the two teams. Portland is 18-5 to the over as a favorite. Phoenix is 11-18 to the under at home, but man, I gotta go over here in this one with Portland and Phoenix. Give me the over here. Look, Phoenix is, I think they continue to play well. I know that, because Booker is out, that is kind of making Phoenix here an underdog here still. Also, Dylan Brooks broke his hand last night. He was questionable for the game, found himself in the starting lineup, and broke his hand in the first quarter. So he is out, and that is rough as well. So you got 2 key players out, but Denny Avia is questionable here for Portland in this one. Shaden Sharp is out as well. So I don't know. There could be, I don't know about even there in the injury department, but again, Phoenix just continues to amaze as far as staying alive, keeping the wins going. It's just that right now, Portland, they're in a drive here as well. All right, give me the over in this one. Hey, we're underway in the Olympics here. Cross-country skiing, the women's 50K mass start. Just underway with the Olympics. Maybe we'll just stay up and watch Olympics all night until we get to the hockey game. I went with Frida Karlsson here of Sweden. Okay, let's see here in the chat with this one. Portland and Phoenix. All right, and we've got here Blazers money line for Andre there after that Brooks injury, right? Andre, that was kind of why yesterday, and again, one of the reasons I took Phoenix as a premium. I know everybody's really, talking about Book. He's out right now, but the fact that Brooks was in there, now they did go on to win the game, and he missed almost the entire game, but he was kind of the guy that I was thinking, are we overlooking the fact that Brooks was going to be in that game? Turns out they had a good sign for Phoenix, too. They were able to get it done. Okay. Let's take a look here right now with Andre's talking about that Portland loss there to Denver. They did lose by 52 points in that game. Usually teams in this league do bounce back pretty nicely. Yeah, I'm going over here in this one. Phoenix is a bit of an under team, no doubt about that. But they have gone over in 6 of their last 9, and the series kind of is over as well. Like I said, those first 2 games went over this season that the teams met. Got a couple more here in the NBA on Sunday night. The Knickerbockers are on the road taking on the Chicago Bulls. Knicks with the win over Houston last night, 108-106. KD was the GOAT almost there, it looked like, in that game as the Knicks got the win over Houston. Now, Houston did cover. The Knicks were favored by 3.5. They won by a deuce. For Chicago here, doesn't get any better at this point. This has been a massive losing streak. They've lost 8 in a row. Didn't cover in any of them. The Knicks are 11-3 straight up in their last 14, 10-4 against the spread in those games. Just 1-5 against the spread their last 6 against Chicago. Chicago's gone over in 6 of their last 7, and 6 of the last 7 meetings between the two teams have gone over, although the Knicks have been going under here in 11 of their last 16. Let's see what you think here with the Knicks on the road against the Bulls. We did just get some injury information here just a short time ago. Mitch Robb is doubtful for the game for the Knicks. Anthony Simons questionable for the Bulls. Zach Collins is out. Jaden Ivey is out as well here for the Bulls in this one. Knicks did a great job. Now both teams are on the back-to-back. Chicago lost to Detroit 126-110 at home. So they just continue to get pummeled here right now. And the Knicks are seemingly on a mission, it feels like, right now. Yeah, they didn't get the money there last time, but let's see what you have. They got a team they can handle here. So I'm sure the Knicks will crush the way Chicago's going right now. All right, but it's Bulls here for Andre. And Mr. Wesker's liking the Bulls here. Maybe even money line. Okay, I better back off there. I was going to say, hey, Knicks all the way here, the way they're going right now. One thing yesterday, I just thought, for example, the Pistons came in there at Chicago, and yeah, Chicago was, I think they kind of led early there in that game. Chicago was up a couple of points there early, but then Detroit came out in the second half, scored 44 points in the third quarter, and that's probably what could happen here again today in this one, I would think. But I'll go with the over in this one between the Knicks and the Bulls. You guys are liking the Bulls there in the chat. I gotta respect that. Okay. One more here on Night Moves in the NBA. It's going to be the Magic taking on the Clippers in this one. Like I said, Clippers not in the playoffs yet. They've got to start winning here. They're chasing the Warriors. To me, it feels like Clippers and Warriors for the last spot. For Orlando here, look, Orlando in pretty okay position right now. They're 3.5 games ahead of the Hawks for the number 8 spot. Orlando's going to have to play, above 500 here down the stretch in order to make the postseason. As long as Atlanta doesn't get hot, I guess the Hornets are in there a little bit as well. Maybe the Bucks. But for Orlando here, they come in off of a loss last time to Phoenix yesterday, 113-110 in that game as Orlando lost. They were getting 3.5, however. Meanwhile, for the Clippers here, they beat the lost to the Lakers 125-122, but the Clippers actually are hot here against the spread. They covered in that game. They are on a spread winning streak here at this point. Clippers have covered 5 in a row in 11 of their last 14 at home. Orlando's won 4 of their last 6 and covered in 4 of their last 6. Clippers here have gone under in 12 of the last 18 meetings with Orlando. Orlando just 1-4 ATS against the Clippers in their last 5 games against one another. Orlando won the first meeting at home, 129-101 for their first win over the Clippers in 2 years. Let's see what you think here in this one with Orlando and the Clippers here tonight. Both teams motivated. This is one where you've got 2 teams that are, battling for the playoffs right now for sure. All right, Mr. Weskers is on the Clippers. Right, Mr. Weskers, it is appropriate here. If the Clippers can't get past this Warriors team, though, that's going to be pretty disappointing. They are behind them right now, no doubt about it. Andre's on the Clips here as well. And I'm going to take him, too. I'm going to take the Clips with the chat here. I think Benedict Mathurin has been – I think the Clippers – I think this lineup, is a much better than a 9th place lineup. maybe I'm just saying something obvious, or maybe people don't know. I think this Clippers lineup looks. I think the changes that they made. Look, you want to get rid of Harden. You hope that Kawhi can uh, make it last. He says Benedict matter of fact. I like that. Yeah, Wagner is out here for the Magic. I think Kawhi actually has a injury designation here, game time decision with an ankle injury. Collins is out. We saw him. I think he got a concussion there the other night, so I'm laying on the ground. So Suggs is questionable here as well. Give me the Clippers tonight on Night Moves. All right. I've got 5 games in the college basketball ranks here, and to be honest, look, these if we didn't want to have a college basketball segment, because hey, there's always going to be some chances to bet, these games really not. I don't want to. I never want to down talk our games. We're always thankful to have games. Started off here with a game that hey, this one's still pretty decent here. You've got the Buckeyes on the road taking on Michigan State. 15th ranked Michigan State comes in here off of a win. They're ranked 21st in the country. They did beat UCLA there last time. They crushed them, remember, 82-59. For Ohio State here, meanwhile, they're coming in off of a win over Wisconsin, 86-69 at home. Buckeyes are 6-4 ATS in their last 10 games. They're also 5-4 ATS as an underdog. Michigan State 6-4 ATS in their last 10 games. So nothing special with these two as far as getting it done. Money wise, Michigan State is 13-2 straight up at home. Ohio State just 2-7 as an underdog this season. Ohio State's lost 14 in the last 20 meetings to Sparty. Also, 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two teams have gone under. I'm going to end up going under in this game. Michigan State has gone over in 6 straight, but Ohio State's gone under in 4 of their last 5 and 6 of their last 9 on the road. Despite the fact that Michigan State's been an over team of late, they're still 7-11 to the under at home, and Ohio State's 3-5 to the under as an underdog. Says 146 there, but I think it might be a notch lower now. No, it's still 140. In fact, there's some 147s out there. Give me the under here in this one with Ohio State and Michigan State here on Sunday. All right. Going to be Mr. Weskers on Ohio. Says Izzo's been a disappointment this year. Spartans win. Ohio State's covered for Andre. He says under as well. All right, next up here on Sunday. Okay, we're going to stop in here to the MAAC. We did see a cryptic social media post by the MAAC and said, we're going to be changing the name of our conference. We cannot stand being called the MAC when there's 2 MACs. Well, it's easy to solve. You just say the MAAC like I do. Merrimack has come in here as a 7.5-point favorite. They've won 7 straight games, and they are going for the championship right here. They've already secured a share of the championship here of the Metro, but just 1 win will give them the outright title. They're taking on Iona here. Might not actually the best game in the conference is probably Siena and St. Peter's, but they're not going to win the conference title, and they're not going to the NCAA tournament unless they win the conference tournament. So it's all about Merrimack here as they try to wrap up the title. Really a great story when you think about it. Merrimack here, been a D1 team just 6 years here, and going to win this conference title here right now under Coach Gallo's. Done a pretty good job. The only coach they've had since they've been in Division I. They're 7.5-point favorites here in this one over Iona. Iona 16-12 coming in. They looked pretty good the other night in that win over St. Peter's, 72-64 at home. Iona is 16-12 against the spread and 8-3 against the spread as an underdog. But Merrimack, one of the best cover teams at home in the country, 9-1. ATS 10-2. ATS as a favorite. This is their roll. They are on a roll here with a long winning streak as well. But again, I'm not saying there'll be any complacency. I don't know if there will be, quite frankly. But all they need is one win in 3 games to win the conference regular season title, and then you got to prepare yourself because you're going to have to win the conference tournament. Merrimack, as good as they've been here with a record of 19-9, that's not going to be good enough. They're going to have to win the conference tournament, so got to stay healthy as well. Merrimack here, 7 straight wins. They've covered all 7. They've also covered 8 straight at home. Iona just 1-6 straight up in their last 7 on the road, 2-4 straight up in their last 6. They've gone under in 16 of their last 20 games coming in. These are 2 teams that definitely go under, but what's the urgency here as far as defense is concerned? Merrimack is 10-18. Both teams are 10-18 to the under this season. Merrimack's 4-8 to the under as a favorite. They've gone under in 14 of their last 20. Iona's gone under in 16 of their last 20 and under in 15 of their last 18 conference games. But I think the numbers looks a little low to me. Usually those trends are going to be too strong for me to deny, but Iona did win the first meeting 61-60 at home as a 1.5-point dog. So maybe the revenge factor for Merrimack will be enough here. I've got Merrimack to blow out Iona in this one. Iona, look, the one thing about Iona is they're pretty decent offensively here. I have a feeling this thing, even though these 2 teams are solid unders, I'll take Merrimack, but I think the total might be better because I think people are going to look to the under here, and I might go over. But see if there's anybody in the chat with this one. It's Andre. He's on Merrimack. Okay, I'm trying to find a game here we can look at, and let's go. We can take a peek here with Robert Morris and Wright State.
Critical notice.
Okay, let me get into this one here. Look, like I said, not a lot to be determined here necessarily. And you look at the Horizon standings right now, Wright State has a 2.5 game lead over Green Bay. Now, they've clinched at least a share of the title. Wright State has just 3 losses here this season. Green Bay, Oakland, Robert Morris here, and Detroit Mercy all have 7 losses. So if Wright loses their last 3 games and then any of these 7-loss teams win all their games left, they can tie. So let's make it about Wright State here. 4-point favorite over Bobby Morris in this one. For Wright here, they come in 18-10. Robert Morris comes in 18-10. If anything, Robert Morris, expected to be kind of a contender this year. I think Wright State was the favorite, or at least the best team right now here. Right. Robert Morris has won 4 straight games coming in over Wright State. Youngstown, Cleveland, and Oakland. When the teams met back on February 4th, it was 72-66. Wright won. Robert Morris won against Wright State at home.
Final.
They were actually about a pick-em in that game. Both teams are also, not only are they 18-10 straight up, but they're both 16-10 against the spread this season. Robert Morris is 8-5 against the spread as an underdog coming in, just getting 4 points here in the matchup. And look, even though you think kind of close, right? Wright's 13-4 in conference play. Robert Morris just 10-7. Wright State's got a good, cohesive team. They're not, Robert Morris has Deshaun Good, the sophomore. He's kind of a star player out there. Wright has a very good mix of guys. I think that makes them the better team. They've won 13 of their last 16, 7-2 in their last 9 straight up at home. Robert Morris is 5-1 in their last 6, covering the spread in all 5 of those wins. Robert Morris 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games against Wright State. 4 of the last 5 meetings between the two teams have gone under. Also, Robert Morris has gone under in 5 of their last 7, and Wright has gone under in 4 of their last 5 games. Let's see what you have here in this one with Robert Morris on the road here, taking on Wright State. College basketball action for Sunday. I think both these teams with strong under trends here for sure. Let's see here in the chat. Mr. Weskers is on Wright. And Andre's on Wright here as well. I'm going to take the under in this one. You guys are on Wright. Give me the under here with Robert Morris and Wright State. All right, we got Iowa and Wisconsin here. Look, we're not going to be determining anything with these teams in the Big Ten this year, but still, it's a 4:00 Eastern, 1 Pacific game with the Hawkeyes and the Badgers here in this one. Still rates as probably the best game of the day, even though it doesn't have a lot to do here with the conference standings anyway. Iowa's 9-6 coming in. Wisconsin's 10-5 in Big Ten play. Wisconsin's 18-8 overall. Iowa 19-7. So still pretty good game here between these two. You'd have to think these two teams are going to be in the NCAA tournament. And let's see what you got here with these two. As Iowa comes in here off of a win last time out over Nebraska, 57-52. They covered at home in a low score. The corn was not a-growing. Wisconsin, meanwhile, lost to Ohio State, 86-69 on the road last time out. That ended their extensive cover streak. Wisconsin comes in here 10-8 against the spread as a favorite. Iowa 5-3 against the spread on the road. Iowa's got a great, real strong shooting team, probably top 25 shooting team in the country here. They produced some overs for sure. 16-10 to the over. Wisconsin 15-11 to the over. Although Iowa as an underdog, just 2-4. This season as a dog for the Iowa Hawkeyes here. If you guys have a play in this one, let me know. And like I said, this is probably the best game of the day for the strength of the teams. They're both going to the tournament. It's relatively closely rated. So probably the game of the day here. There's really no night games tomorrow in college basketball. So, yeah, for me, I'm going with the over in this one. I'm going back to the over with these two, with Iowa and Wisconsin. All right, Andre's on Iowa plus points and over. Mr. Weskers likes Iowa outright here to win this one. All right, yeah. Look, for Iowa here in this matchup against Ohio State, against Wisconsin, they're just 1-6 straight up and 1-6 against the spread against the Badgers overall. Look, I probably like the Badgers here, but I might have a premium, so we'll see. But really, it's always been a Wisconsin series between these two. Wisconsin still won 13 of their last 15 at home this season. 5 of the last 7 meetings between the two teams have gone over, and Iowa's gone over in 5 of their last 7. So I'll go with the over for now. All right, I found one more to look at here tonight. And look, I'll tell you why. Like I said, we're trying to just find any team that's kind of alive still. This game is probably the worst game in the on the card here this season, but you do have a team that is still alive here for the conference title, and that would be Tulsa. They are 2 games back here currently. Wichita is 10-5. South Florida is 11-3. Tulsa's pretty much dug their own grave here over the last they've lost. They were on a 3-game losing streak before they finally did beat Charlotte last time out. So they were 8-2 after winning 7 straight conference games, and then they lost to South Florida, UAB, and Wichita State consecutively. So they're still favored massively here by 22.5. They have all the motivation in the world to keep winning. It's just a pretty big number. UTSA is coming in here though with just a 4-10 spread record on the road. Tulsa's 9-4 against the spread at home. Huge number here, but oh man, come on! This UTSA team is one of the worst offensive. Look at this total is 158, and this UTSA team. I mean, they literally are in the bottom 10 in scoring, in 2-point field goals, in 3-point field goal. They are dreadful. How are they ever going to get to 158 here? Is Tulsa? Look, I can figure it out here. 74, 85 to 62. 85 to 62. Is that really going to be the score here in this one? The two teams did meet last year here in Tulsa, and it was 80 to 76. Tulsa got the win. But, man, it's going to take a lot of work for Texas San Antonio in this one. Maybe it will be their day, but, man, they are so bad offensively. And quite frankly, Tulsa, they're, probably a top 50 or 60 defensive team. Tulsa's going to – let's just take Tulsa. I was trying to make an excuse to take the under here, but I think Tulsa will win it by 25. I'll take Tulsa to rock this one by 25 points. Mr. Weskers is on Tulsa. And Mr. Wesker says 22 points, or a team still alive in the race here with Texas, with Tulsa. So maybe they can still, they have the motivation. And Andre says, should have went with the North Texas game, actually. Yeah, I guess so. You think about it with the standings, though, and North Texas is just 6-8, and Florida Atlantic never got it going at 7-7. So those two teams are going to need to win the conference tournament as well. They're not going to the NCAA tournament. As far as Tulsa, actually, meanwhile, they are really they're probably going to win the conference tournament here. I don't think they're going to be taken as an at-large, but they're close, actually. They're a little bit bubbly here. I guess if they won the remaining games, they could make it tough if they did lose the conference tournament. So we'll see. Okay, I think that's it for Night Moves, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the show. Please go over to Tony'sPicks.com and check me out over there for Sunday. I'm going to have some picks here in college basketball. Also, in the NBA, I'll be looking at a couple games as well. And some soccer here as well on Sunday. My international soccer was strong on – we had a couple of wins on Sunday. But, I tried to get involved in the opening night of Major League Soccer. I'm really fired up about it. It's my favorite league. Make fun of me all you want, but hey, I live in the United States. I like Major League Soccer before the European leagues, but really like my San Diego FC. Man, they're 9-1 to win the MLS Cup. I had to take it. Call me a homer in that one, but they won last night 5-0 over Montreal. They're even better. Their young prospect who they just signed, I think he's a teenager, scored in the game. So 5-0. San Diego FC is the first night of Major League Soccer, and there is a Major League Soccer card tomorrow, so I'm probably going to at least try one premium. But, hey, we do have a great schedule here of games in the EPL with some early starts during that hockey match. Fulham and Sunderland, Wolves and Crystal Palace, Liverpool and Forest, Arsenal and Tottenham, Serie A, Torino and Genoa, Napoli and Atalanta, Parma and Milan, Cremonese and Roma, La Liga action, Sevilla and Getafe, Levante and Barcelona, Mallorca, and Celta de Vigo and Valencia and Villarreal there, and also a couple games in Bundesliga. Mönchengladbach takes on Freiburg. Freiburg, Werder Bremen, and St. Pauli, Stuttgart, and Heidenheim. Mexican League action as well tomorrow night. My Tijuana Xolos tied tonight. Tomorrow, Monterrey and Pumas, Juarez and Querétaro. Hey, and then the hockey season, the Olympics will be over, and we're going to resume play here shortly in the NHL next week. Got to get these guys back on the ice and down the stretch here. Play resumes on Wednesday with 8 games in the NHL. All right. That's going to do it. Make sure you head on over to Tony'sPicks.com and use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 15% off those premium pick packages from all the handicappers, including me, on Sunday. Thanks a lot to everyone in the chat for helping me get along here. And we'll be back tomorrow with more Night Moves for the Tony's Picks YouTube channel. I'm Ramon Scott. So long from Las Vegas.